And so in Proverbs 22 and 6, it simply gives us the instruction to train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, when he is old, when he is old, when he is old. Let me see the hands of all the old folk in the house. Amen. Some of y'all old and don't want to admit it. But when he is old, he will not depart from it. Amen. I want to talk to you briefly about from the subject the importance of the teaching of a parent. See, one of the teachings that I had that was so difficult for me was I had a 12 o'clock curfew that I had to be at home at 12 o'clock on the weekends. It didn't matter. 12 o'clock. And that didn't mean I walked in the house at 12:01. Because at 12:01 I was late. And there was going to be much trouble in my house. Matter of fact, I didn't realize that during that time I was being conditioned to become a runner. Because there was a train that came through our city around 11:50 every night. And I could be out somewhere having a good time. I could be spinning a girl around the dance floor. And when the train whistle went off at 11:50, I knew I had 10 minutes to get home. And many girls I left on the dance floor, struck out, running, amen, to make that 12 o'clock curfew. Because I understood my parents did not play. When they said 12 o'clock, they meant 12 o'clock and not 12:01. And I had to meet that curfew. And because I would run home so often, from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill, in my city was about 2.5 miles. All the activities went on the top of the hill, and I lived in the valley. And I could take off and run from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill in less than 10 minutes if I had to. Somebody ought to hear me. But I didn't realize it was conditioning me to play football. Not only was it conditioning me to play football, but it also was conditioning me to be timely and to respect authority at a young age in my life. See, because I had seen my mother discipline my older siblings. And I'd come to understand through her disciplining my older siblings that I didn't want none of that. My oldest sister that was just next to me was late one time on her curfew, and my mother had one leg, for those of you who don't know, and she didn't play. When she said something, she meant it. And that meant that if she told you to do something and you didn't do it, the closest thing to her she would discipline you with. Sometimes there was a glass, sometimes that was a bottle, and sometimes it was her crutch. I saw my sister come in late one night, and my mother said, "You are late." And my sister tried to explain, and before she was finished explaining, my mother had her crutch coming down on her head and leaped on her with her one leg, sat up on her with that one leg, and had her finger hooked in her mouth when she came to her senses. And I said, I don't want any of that. And so I learned to follow discipline.